There was a time when life seemed perfect, dreams were bright, and the path looked clear. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. A tragic accident stole not only the ability to walk, but also shattered the image of what life was supposed to be. She was just 21. Most would call it the end, but for her, it was the beginning of a new chapter. The physical pain was unbearable. But what hurt more was the silence of friends who disappeared, the pity in people's eyes, and the haunting echo of Ame. The mirror became a reminder of loss. She could no longer dance, run, or even sit without assistance. But she made one powerful choice. She would not be defined by what was taken away, but by what she still had within her. From the depths of her pain, she picked up a paintbrush. Her hands trembled, but her heart was steady. Each stroke on the canvas was a rebellion against despair. Every color she used screamed, "I am still here. I still matter." Slowly, she discovered that her broken body did not mean a broken soul. Her voice became her strength. Her story became her message. And what once was her greatest tragedy became her most powerful testimony. She rose, this time not on her feet, but on her spirit. Today, she is known not for what she lost, but for how she turned loss into purpose. She paints, she speaks, she inspires millions, not because her life is perfect, but because she found meaning within the imperfection. She redefines success, not as fame or wealth or even the ability to, but as the power to rise, to heal, and to lift others while you're still rebuilding yourself. Success is not about avoiding pain. It's about using it as a ladder to your higher self. She is the woman who proved that even from a wheelchair, you can stand tall. Success is not what you achieve, but what you survive and rise from. This truth carries a weight far deeper than trophies, accolades, or applause. It speaks not to the surface of life, but to the soul of it. In a world that often measures success by visible milestones, money in the bank, titles behind a name, followers on a screen, we tend to forget the invisible wars people fight, the silent battles they win each day just to keep going. True success lies in those unseen moments, the ones where quitting feels easier, but you choose to rise anyway. When life breaks you, when it strips away everything you thought you needed to survive, it gives you a chance to meet your most authentic self. Pain doesn't ask for permission. It arrives uninvited, wrecking dreams and plans without apology. But those who face that pain, those who stand in the rubble of their lives and decide to rebuild, they understand the raw, sacred power of resilience. They may have lost what the world calls success, but they've gained something far greater, the strength to rise with nothing but willpower and faith. Imagine someone who had it all mapped out, a future full of color, ambition, and movement, only to be suddenly faced with an accident or illness that changes everything. The world doesn't pause to adjust for their new reality. But in the stillness of their brokenness, they find a different kind of success. The success of waking up each morning and choosing to smile. The success of embracing limitations, not as an end, but as a beginning. The success of becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate, not in spite of their pain, but because of it. You see, surviving what was meant to destroy you is a level of success few understand. It doesn't come with applause. There's no award for surviving heartbreak, for battling depression, for choosing to live when everything inside you whispers that it's easier not to. But make no mistake, these are the real victories, the ones that forge unbreakable spirits, the ones that create a different kind of legacy, written not in headlines, but in the lives touched, the souls uplifted, the courage ignited, just by watching someone refuse to give up. It takes strength to build a business. It takes even more to build yourself after life has broken you. It takes drive to chase a dream. It takes unmatched bravery to find a new dream when the old one is no longer possible. This is where true success lives, not in the destination, but in the decision to keep going, to reinvent, to rise from the ashes of your former life and create something meaningful with what remains. There's something sacred about surviving, about crawling out of a season that was meant to bury you and daring to smile again, about carrying invisible scars and still choosing to be kind, about enduring years of loneliness, disappointment, or grief and still having the courage to hope. That's success, that's power, that's beauty the world can't always see, but those who've been broken recognize instantly. You'll find the strongest people often the quietest, not because they have nothing to say, but because they've learned that strength isn't loud. It's in the way they carry their pain with grace. It's in the way they keep showing up, even when their world has crumbled. It's in the way they turn heartbreak into healing for themselves and for others. They are successful not because they reached a finish line, but because they kept walking even when there was no road. Think of the people who faced trauma and turned it into purpose. The ones who lost loved ones and decided to create support networks. The ones who survived abuse and now use their voice to protect others. The ones who were told they were nothing and instead became something no one could ignore. These individuals may never grace magazine covers, but they are walking definitions of success. Rising from what you survived reshapes your understanding of value. You begin to see life through different eyes. You appreciate breath, time, moments, and the simplest joys. You stop measuring worth in achievements and start measuring it in strength, depth, and character. You begin to honor the parts of you that didn't give up, even when everything inside you begged to. And that shift, that inner transformation, is the most profound kind of success there is. Because the truth is, no external achievement can compare to the internal victory of surviving, of rising, of reclaiming your life, your voice, your joy. That is success. It may not come with medals or recognition, but it will live in every step you take, every soul you touch, and every story you inspire just by being brave enough to keep going. You survived what was sent to destroy you. And in doing so, you've already succeeded beyond measure. Pain is not the end. It's the beginning of transformation. Though it rarely feels that way in the moment, pain is often the first spark that wakes us up from the illusion of control, comfort, and permanence. It forces us to feel, to face, and to grow. It strips away everything superficial and reveals who we truly are. In pain, there is a raw honesty that life rarely offers. It doesn't ask for permission. It enters like a storm, tearing apart the world we built and leaving us standing in the debris. But it is in that very space where everything is broken that something new begins to form. Most people think of pain as a punishment, as something to run from or avoid. Society teaches us to numb it, escape it, silence it. But what if pain isn't the enemy? What if it's the teacher? What if the heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss, the failure, they're not the end of our story, but the start of a deeper chapter we never knew we did? Pain shakes us awake. It reminds us that we are alive. It challenges the illusion that we are in control and pushes us toward surrender, toward resilience, toward change. The truth is, no one is transformed by an easy life. No one discovers who they truly are while everything is going according to plan. It's in the suffering, the trials, the unanswered questions that we uncover the depth of our own soul. Pain introduces us to our strength. It shows us how far we can bend without breaking. It teaches us compassion because once you've been broken, you begin to see the cracks in others with a softer heart. It humbles you because it reminds you how fragile our life can be. But most importantly, it empowers you because surviving it means you've already proven your ability to evolve. Think about the moments that changed you the most. Were they easy? Or did they come from loss, disappointment, or heartbreak? It is often when the world goes quiet, when the people disappear, when the dream collapses, that we start listening to ourselves, to our intuition, to our soul. We stop pretending, we stop hiding. Pain breaks the mask we wear for the world, and underneath it, we find something real, something authentic, something worth rebuilding. Pain has a way of forcing reflection. When you're hurt, you begin asking questions you never asked before. Why am I here? What matters to me? Who am I becoming? It becomes a soil where new values are planted, where courage takes root. Root? A cave's root. Where clarity blooms. It's uncomfortable, yes, sometimes unbearable. But within that discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Just like a seed must break apart before it becomes a tree, we too must be cracked open before we can become who we're truly meant to be. In the middle of pain, we often feel like we're falling apart, but what's really happening is that the false parts of us, the roles we were told to play, the expectations we carried, the limitations we believed are being stripped away. Pain doesn't destroy you. It destroys who you are not. It clears the space for authenticity, for freedom, for purpose. It's messy, it's chaotic, but transformation always is. And then comes the shift. When you realize that your pain wasn't pointless, that what broke you also built you, that the tears you cried watered the roots of something stronger, that the darkness you walked through gave you eyes to see the light. There is something sacred about someone who's walked through fire and still chooses to love, someone who's lost everything and still gives, someone who's been hurt deeply and still dares to hope. That is what pain produces, not weakness, but wisdom, not defeat, but determination. Some of the most powerful people in the world didn't start with power, they started with pain. Their transformation began the moment they stopped asking, why me? And started asking, you what now? The moment they stopped running from their story and started owning it. They turned their wounds into words, their scars into stories, and their hurt into healing. Not just for themselves, but for others too. Because when you rise after being broken, you don't just lift yourself, you become a lifeline for those still in the storm. Pain connects us. It unites us in our shared humanity. No one escapes it. But what separates those who transform from those who stay stuck is the willingness to face it, feel it, and move through it. Transformation doesn't come when the pain stops. It comes when you choose to step into it fully knowing it will hurt, but trusting that something beautiful will emerge on the other side. You don't have to like the pain. You don't have to pretend it's fair. But if you let it, pain will teach you, shape you, and push you into a version of yourself that you never knew was possible. Not despite the suffering, but because of it. That's the paradox of transformation. It begins not when everything is going right, but when everything falls apart. When the light fades and you choose to become the light instead. True strength is choosing to smile through the scars. It's not found in muscles or loud victories, but in quiet resilience. The kind that whispers, I will keep going, even when every part of you feels like giving up. Smiling through the scars doesn't mean pretending the pain never happened. It doesn't mean ignoring the hurt or acting like everything is okay. It means acknowledging the pain, owning every wound, every heartbreak, every fall, and choosing to rise anyway. It's choosing grace over bitterness, courage over comfort, and hope over despair. Scars tell a story. They're not just remnants of the past. They are proof that you survived. They are symbols of what didn't break you. And when you wear them with pride and still find a reason to smile, that's real strength. It's easy to smile when life is kind, when everything falls into place, when the road is smooth. But it takes something extraordinary to smile when everything inside you aches, when the memories still sting and the wounds, though healed, still echo with pain. That smile, born from struggle, is a quiet revolution. It says, I am still here. I'm still standing. There's nothing weak about having scars. They are not signs of failure. They are signs of healing. You were hurt. You were knocked down, maybe even shattered. But you didn't stay there. You got up, maybe slowly, maybe painfully. But you rose, but you rose. And in doing so, you discovered strength you didn't know you had. Smiling through your scars doesn't mean you've forgotten the battle. It means you've made peace with it. It means you've taken back the power from the things that tried to destroy you. People often misunderstand what strength really looks like. They think it's about being tough, unemotional, untouchable. But real strength is softness that refuses to die. It's gentleness that remains even after life has tried to harden you. It's the ability to still be kind, still be vulnerable, still love, even when you've been broken. When you smile through your scars, you're telling the world that you are more than what hurt you, that the wound did not define you, that your story didn't end there. Story didn't end there. There's a kind of beauty that only exists in those who've suffered and kept their heart open, who've cried themselves to sleep but still wake up with gratitude, who've lost so much but still choose to give. That beauty is rare and it's powerful. It touches lives in ways that polished perfection never could, because it's real, it's raw, it's honest. And in that honesty, there is healing for others as much as for yourself. Sometimes we think strength is about never showing pain, but the opposite is true. It takes strength to be vulnerable. And to say, yes, I've been through hell, but I'm still choosing love. To say, I was shattered, but I've rebuilt myself piece by piece. That smile you wear after a storm, it's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's experience. It's your soul saying, I've walked through fire and learned how to carry. The world needs more of that. Not perfection, not invincibility, but people who have been hurt and still choose love. People who have been through storms and still walk with calm. People who wear their scars like medals, not wounds. The moment your pain begins to help someone else, it starts to lose its grip on you. It stops being just about what you went through and starts becoming about what you're doing with it. That shift is liberating. It gives your